With all our hearts, we pray and ask. God bless Anambra. God bless the shining light that we bear. We're the only ones to make her brighter, the only ones to make her better, the only ones.
Move this way, move this way, Amelia, move this way. I don't want you to cross that there. Just give your way, give way, give ready. Let this place like this. My brother, you don't want me to push you, just hold it.
This 7th Anambra House of Assembly, inaugurated on the 12th of June last year, is a beneficiary of democratic election. This means that the events leading up to and what happened on the election day is still fresh in our memories. As we extol the democratic elections of June 12, 1999, can we jointly as a House or as individuals beat our chests and say that ours was free and fair? If it was, what did we do to get it right? If not, what did we do or not do to make a mess of it? I say this because I believe strongly that how someone comes into an elected position determines how he or she manages the power associated with it. Whatever your answer to the above questions is, I am convinced that what we call election in Nigeria today is very far from what elections should be. If you understand the value we represent as a state, legislature, and honorable members, we should always strive for the betterment of our electoral process, not just by churning out more electoral laws, but more importantly, by obeying them ourselves. I most sincerely thank you for the wonderful work you are doing in the state since your inauguration a year today. In you, I see a house well-ordered, united, progressive-minded, and with people-oriented legislative agenda. Your good rapport with the executive arm of the government has kept the state safe and harmonious. That is what it should be. No one gains anything by being at each other's neck every time. But beneath such relative calm, I must note, lurks a danger that we shouldn't watch. That is the danger of abandoning our constitutional oversight functions in our relationship with the executive. Let the harmony not be founded on collusion, as we witness in some democratic arrangements. Here the legislature looks the other way when it is clear that the executive is dwelling. In order to save their present seat or for future elections, the relationship with the executive should be cordial, but founded on mutually critical engagement that will make for better cordiality and harmony in line with the goals of democratic principles and ideals for the attainment of the common good of the people. The Church, on her part, has enjoyed a cordial relationship with the State House of Assembly. We treasure that cordiality very much, for it has helped our state on the path of progress and prosperity. The Church is at the grassroots. Our priests and pastors live in the villages with the poorest of the poor. Sometimes they are the only young degree holders living with the people. Other young graduates are in the cities looking for sources of livelihood. With their philosophical and theological trainings, seminary formation and pastoral experiences, spiritual endowment and grace of ordination, and some with additional academic degrees, they are often perfectly equipped to feel the pulse of the people very well and could know better how to relate to them. That is why we must never neglect the feedback they bring to us. We must listen to them. Listening to them will help you to know the best way to serve our people. I must tell you that it has not been easy for me as the chief shepherd of the people of God in Kalidas of Oka. Vices like avarice, materialism, selfishness, arrogance, ego worship, and sensuality. All these things have no place for a good Christian politician. They corrupt the soul and make one's work ineffectual and valueless. Before I conclude, I would like to thank the government of Anambra State for the security we enjoy in the state. Without adequate security, no meaningful development can thrive. Your Excellency, I thank you very much for rewarding those policemen who caught somebody who wanted to embarrass us. I believe that such a gesture will continue to make people work harder. And because if they had succeeded, it would have been a big embarrassment that is happening in the heart of our state. So thank you and keep up. I thank you for cooperating with the executive in this regard by giving them enabling legislative backing. I would like that we also watch the influx of jobless and unskilled youths into the state this time around, especially during the lockdown and the stoppage of interstate travel. Freedom of movement is guaranteed in our Constitution. But the manner these movements are coordinated raises some questions. Why should it be during the lockdown and blockade of state borders? Why were many of them hiding under heads of cattle loaded in trailers or under other goods in long haulage trucks? How come it that they are moving to unknown destinations without known plans? Thank God the Southeast have adopted the community policing initiative. Everything about the program should be accelerated and properly done to serve the interests of our people. Security gives way to conspiracy, says Artemidorus in Shakespeare, William Shakespeare, Julius Caesar. We must be vigilant all the time to avoid being caught off guard. Count the people whom you represent before yourselves. You are here to serve them and not yourselves. Never have your ears closed to the plight of the poor, the less privileged in the present circumstance, the poor rural farmers. You were elected into this office by the masses, and to them you must take care of. Let us remember that in the end, we will each give account of our stewardship to the Lord. I pray that the Lord helps you to continue your legislative duties with the fear of God, and that our dear state will continue to enjoy relative peace it has enjoyed, thanks to the present administration. Be assured of my unrelenting prayers for you and your family. And may the Lord bless you through Christ our Lord.
I'm privileged to address the distinguished personalities gathered here today to celebrate the first anniversary of the 7th Assembly of Anambra State Legislature. Permit me to single out for special mention and welcome to this auspicious occasion the alert Governor of Anambra State, His Excellency Chief Willie Obiano. I also highly welcome other distinguished personalities who I know have to serve their own other important engagements in order to be here with us today. The State House of Assembly appreciates your presence, which I see as a gesture of solidarity and support. In my inaugural address on June 12, 2019, I said that my colleagues and I were conscious of the burden that history has imposed on us. I promised in the Anambra that working in tandem with the executive arm, we shall strengthen the state legislature and build Anambra that will be the pride of our people. Today, I stand tall to say that in spite of the obvious constraints now worsened by the ravaging COVID-19 pandemic that has driven the entire nation on the verge of economic depression, we have not disappointed in the Anambra. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, occasions such as this are customary used to take stock of our performance as legislators. It is an opportunity to cast a critical look backward, evaluate the present and mobilize for the future. In reviewing what we have been able to achieve in the past 1 year, let me state that in the life of a parliament, 1 year is certainly short for a realistic appraisal, but sufficient to signpost its direction and operational ideal. Flowing from the above, Your Excellency, we took off by setting up a committee that fashioned out legislative agenda for the 7th Assembly. The agenda, among other things, include the development of a clear tools and mechanisms for oversight function, faithful compliance with the provisions of the standing orders, especially the code of conduct for members, collaborating with the executive for timely submission of the medium-term expenditure framework, what we call MTEF, and annual state budgets. Also, establishment of the Legislative Budget and Research Office, and giving a facelift to the House of Assembly premises. The agenda has since become the legislative and administrative guide for our actions. Let me hastily add here that the MTEF and the 2020 state budget were timelessly submitted by His Excellency in keeping with our legislative agenda. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are all aware that the legislature is charged with 3 basic functions, namely representation, lawmaking, and oversight. In the area of representation, Your Excellency and our guests, members of the 7th Assembly have been exemplary in their relationship with the people they represent. This is evident in the numerous constituency problem-solving motions they regularly present for House resolution. At the last count, no less than 80 people-oriented resolutions touching diverse areas of our people's welfare have been passed by this Honorable House. Although resolutions do not have the force of law, they serve the purpose of establishing the stand of the legislators as the representatives of their people. And such resolutions are usually respected by the executive. Members have equally been upbeat in the way they have continued to relate with their constituents on the COVID-19 pandemic. Apart from enlightening the people on the basic hygiene protocol, they massively provided relief materials, particularly to the indigent within their constituencies. Similarly, in the past 1 year, a total of 19 bills comprising executive and member bills were introduced at the floor of the House. Of this number, 10 have been passed and 5 assented into law. Some of the bills that have become law include the COVID-19 and other dangerous infectious disease prevention and eradication bill, the 2020 appropriation bill, the Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Chukwu University Teaching Hospital repeal and reenactment bill, the State Information and Communication Technology Bill, the Anambra State Public Procurement Amendment Bill, the Anambra State Agency for Erosion, Watershed and Climate Change Bill that may enable the state access external funds for controlling the diverse effects of climate change, including ecological problems in our dear state. Also, in order to give a first lift to the House of Assembly premises, landscaping of the compound is currently going on, as you can see when you drove into the premises, courtesy of the understanding of His Excellency, the Governor of Anambra State. Please, let's put a round of applause for him, please. Our major target in the new legislative year is to put up a legislative budget research office that will also house a mini printing press. This is with a view to having an uplift and outfit for expert budget review and analysis to promote good governance and regular publications of Hansard and other house periodicals. In this respect, the House would gratefully appreciate the assistance of our friends who, as individuals or groups, may wish to construct or give the 7th Assembly a liberal office as a birthday gift. In the past 1 year, the relationship between the executive and the legislative arm of government in the state has been a very cordial relationship. And this is reflected in the achievement of the government in various sectors, including security of lives and property, and the efficient way the state has battled the COVID-19 pandemic. Let me state that the notion held in certain quarters that the legislature and the executive must be at each other's throats for democracy to be seen as working is false. It's false and negates the spirit of intent of our Constitution that envisages reasonable degree of cooperation between the two arms of government. The presidential system of government which we practice in this country is predicated on intricate power balance because it is anchored on the principle of separation of powers and doctrine of checks and balances. What is therefore required of good governance is principled cooperation and mutual respect, where no arm seeks to dominate or impair the other in the performance of its functions. The 7th Assembly, Your Excellency, will continue to maintain cordial relationship with the executive so far that these minimum conditions are sustained. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, having outlined our major achievements of the past 1 year, our vision for the new year, permit me now at this junction to state that whatever we were able to achieve in the past 1 year was due to the support and encouragement of my colleagues, the wonderful members of the 7th Assembly. The staff, many of whom have been exemplary in their conduct, the principal officers with whom I am exposed to the heat of the kitchen, and the various committee chairmen, the management staff, they all have been wonderful in their support and cooperation. I want to use this medium to say a very big thank you to all of you and urge that the spirit of oneness be maintained. I salute our party faithfuls who provided the platform with which we ascended to power. I salute generally India Anambra for standing by us. I greet you, Your Excellency, the alert Governor, for your unwavering commitment to common good. Your Excellency may not fully realize what regular payments to salaries and pension mean to our people. Our serving and retired public officers, their dependents, and the economy of our dear state. Please, sir, kindly keep it up. Above all, I thank Almighty God who has preserved our lives and through whose grace we have been able to make our modest contributions to the progress of our state. I now wish to assure India Anambra that with your continued support and prayers, we, your representatives in this 7th Assembly, will remain steadfast in the defense of democracy and good governance. It is on this note of assurance that I once again say thank you all for honoring our invitation and wish you a very happy celebration with us.
Otito Delano, Jesu Christi. Through Mary, our mother, onye jisie ike n'ezi omume, onye jakata kwụsị, Anto. The last one is Padua, Nigeria. I am indeed very delighted to be here. I'm happy that the 7th Assembly begins everything they do with God. It was Archbishop Valerie Okeke that said that the attitude of gratitude leads to beatitude. The attitude of gratitude leads to beatitude. And it was Chuks Ezewuze, my blind special advisor, that added that the quantum of beatitude you have will determine your altitude in life. The quantum of beatitude, the quantum of blessing that you have will determine your altitude in life. So I'm very happy that the Speaker and the members of Anambra State House of Assembly deemed it fit to thank God, because it's not easy to be 1 year in the House. You know, and you've done very well during this 1 year, at least working with the executive and other arms of the government. I pray that your remaining 3 years will be as productive, so that you leave indelible marks on the sands of time. I want to sincerely appreciate yourselves for inviting me to your function. I am indeed very, very surprised that one of you, is humble enough to be commanding, to be the choir master. You know, and he did very well. I am very, very surprised. I didn't know he has that humility to do so. I commend a Knight of the Church, P.T. Bida, for also doing the first reading, you know, and the conviviality that is existing amongst yourselves. I think it's something to emulate, and I look forward to yourselves doing more. I must seize this opportunity to let you know, if you, okay, I remember that the Commissioner of Police is here. John, very nice to see you here. I didn't know you were Catholic. Little known things, you know, you keep seeing them. So thank you. I want to first thank John Abang and the team for the arrest they made of an attempted armed robbery incident. That shows you and your team are still very alert. I want you to be more awake. And as you undergo this combing of the forest, you have to be as precise and as decisive as you should be to be able to get results out of it. I also want to seize this opportunity to let yourselves know that we have banned people going to a Ekoka market for 2 weeks. Purely because they were not obeying the COVID protocol orders. Most people, as you can see, do not wear their face masks outside. Some who wear them put it on their neck instead of covering their mouth and nose. This disease is here in Awka South local government. We have had 4 deaths already, and we have a sizable number of people being affected by this COVID. I really would like yourselves to take this COVID protocol very seriously. I did have a chat with His Lordship Bishop Okafor, asking him to help me with the churches too, so that the priests and the servers, of course the congregation, must wear a face mask before they are admitted into the church. And of course, those other little COVID protocols of washing your hands. It is always nice to come or to get anywhere you're going with a hand sanitizer where you can afford it. You know, but if you wash your hands very well for 20 seconds, you know, some people told me they don't know what 20 seconds is. And I watched one program by Uche Okafor, where he was singing, for you to know what 20 seconds means, you just sing happy birthday. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you. That's 20 seconds. And that's a good way. So every day, let every day be your birthday, and everywhere you go, begin to sing it, and people be wondering what you're doing. You know, but that is what this disease calls for. If we all go back to our constituencies and announce like you did, you know, you guys did very well, sharing various food items to your constituencies. I was very proud of you doing that. I saw a lot of all of you on telly at various times sharing things with your constituency. You need to go back again and let them know that this illness is here and they must obey COVID protocols. If they don't have a face mask, they should use handkerchief, clean handkerchief, just like this gentleman here is wearing, you know, and you can wash it. One other thing you must do is, if you have the cloth face mask, you must wash them every day. Because if you don't, in the process of protecting one disease, you're taking another disease. You know. So it is very important that we all do this to survive. Let's lead by example. Let's show people how this thing is done. This illness is not only for the aged, although 80% of our deaths so far are between the ages of 60 and above. But we have a 24-year-old among the victims. So you can see it's not choosing age. You know, so I really would like you to do more so that we all can survive. Otito Delulu, Jesu Christi. I thank you very much.
I trust in God.